take cover.
Yes, please.
Right now.
Please
I am telling you to take cover.
Take cover right now.
We do have a
Folks,
tornado on the ground.
This is a tornado. Yeah, this is a very dangerous situation. We cannot stress this enough.
15 years ago, one of the most powerful tornadoes in history laid devastation upon Joplin, Missouri, one of the largest cities in Missouri. The tornado's impacts were widespread and severe, and is remembered as the costliest tornado in history. In this video, I'll explore what unfolded during the tornado, what the warning signs were, and how a city managed to rebuild from the catastrophe. While the morning in Joplin on May 22, 2011 seemed warm and sunny, the atmosphere was turning unstable and dangerous. To the north, a large surface low was centered over Wisconsin, and slightly west was a Pacific cold front leading into Missouri from Kansas. Around 1.5 hours before the storms initiated, the cold front was stationary, and a dry line had extended to the southwest. Alongside this was substantial wind being fed into the weather system, providing plenty of wind shear across different heights in the system. The convective available potential energy, or CAPE, was incredibly high over Joplin, with the mixed layer CAPE being over 4,000 joules per kilogram. Altogether, the mixture of wind shear, instability, and humidity all provided the necessary elements for the event that was going to take place very, very soon. The Storm Prediction Center had clearly seen the violent atmosphere brewing over the Midwest, with their Day 1 outlook showing the second highest risk rating of moderate over parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and of course Missouri. The tornado probability, however, was much more threatening, as a significant area of high tornado risk of 15% was present, all including a hatched risk, meaning that there was a possibility of significant tornadoes. It is interesting to note, however, that Joplin does not lie inside of the 15% risk for tornadoes, instead being slightly southwest towards the bottom of Missouri. Whilst these outlooks were in place, of course the general public may not have been informed of these prior warnings. This may become important later. Sunday was supposed to be a special day in Joplin. It was the day of the Joplin High School graduation, where parents and children alike all gathered to celebrate this rite of passage. Outside, a storm was brewing. At 5:11 p.m., the sirens began to sound in Joplin, and at 5:17, the first tornado warning 31, was issued in Joplin. This all went off right at the end of the ceremony.
We come out of graduation and there's a tornado.
At 5:34 p.m., the Joplin tornado touches down southwest of Joplin and immediately moves east, immediately blowing down large trees just half a mile from the intersection of JJ Highway and West 32nd Street. In this video from Reed Timmer, you can see the tornado spawn and rapidly intensify as it produces electrical flashes on the power lines. The tornado then entered a subdivision near the intersection of Country Club Drive and West 32nd Street, causing EF3 level damage. Several roofs blew off their homes and exterior walls were removed. The tornado crossed the Iron Gates Road, entering another subdivision to cause EF3 level damage along Sunset and South Kelly Drive. The damage path at this point had now widened to 400 meters across. EF4 damage first started along and east of South Winfield Avenue, where homes were flattened. Many large trees had fallen in this established neighborhood, and tragically, the Elks Lodge of West 26th Street collapsed, killing 5 people, the first deaths from the twister. Around 5:40 p.m., the tornado approached the medical district, where the tornado flattened several 1- and 2-story professional office buildings along the West 26th and 27th Streets. This was the first location along South Adele Avenue that the tornado produced EF5 level damage. Besides the extreme damage to structures, there were some missing manhole covers, lofted concrete parking curbs, and tossed vehicles, some being thrown more than 100 meters. The tornado crossed McClellan Boulevard and struck St. John's Hospital. The multi-story steel and reinforced concrete structure was located just south of the tornado core. The hospital experienced extreme south and west winds that blew through the building, causing extensive interior and exterior damage. 6 people in the hospital reportedly lost their lives during the tornado strike. At this point, the tornado reached a maximum width of about a mile, with EF1 damage extending 700 meters wide. The tornado continued east-northeast along West 26th Street, striking the Greenbrier nursing home. The small wooden structure was annihilated, resulting in the tragic deaths of 20 patients. The tornado then crossed South Moffat Avenue, striking St. Mary's Church. Roofs over the sanctuary and classrooms collapsed, and the adjacent parsonage was destroyed. The roof at the nearby Irving Elementary School also collapsed. The tornado continued through densely populated areas of residence, causing consistent EF4 damage to hundreds of homes and taking more lives, before striking Joplin High School and the adjacent Franklin Technology Center. Portions of the high school and the entirety of the Technology Center collapsed. It is here that one of the most famous pieces of tornado footage are recorded inside Joplin High. After striking the high school, the tornado crossed Indiana Avenue, destroying 2 churches, the Harmony Heights Baptist Church and the Church of Jesus Christ. 3 deaths occurred at Harmony Heights. The tornado moved east along West 20th Street and caused significant damage to Dillon's Food Store, where the 1.5-story steel structure partially collapsed. Adjacent to the food store, the 2-story Hampshire Terrace apartments were struck, removing the second stores on all 10 buildings. After having destroyed hundreds more homes, the tornado crossed Range Line Road near 20th Street. From this point onwards, the tornado left the residential areas of Joplin and weakened. The tornado finally lifted at 6:12 p.m. after a devastating 38 minutes. It demolished over 22 miles of Joplin, finally lifting about 4.8 miles northeast of Granby, Missouri. In these 38 minutes, the tornado grew to a mile wide and swept winds over 200 miles per hour. It claimed the lives of 158 people, destroyed 8,000 homes and buildings, and caused $3.98 billion in damage, the costliest tornado in American history.
It's tough, no question about that.
In the same evening as the tornado, the American Red Cross prepared shelter for survivors of the tornado, as well as a resource center nearby. They registered a total 10,000 people for their 1-800 number for donations. For the next 2 weeks, they had their long-term recovery committee running after the tornado. They estimated $5 million in donations for Joplin relief. Alongside this, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, provided 600 temporary homes to survivors. This unfortunately is not enough for the estimated 5,000 to 7,000 residential homes demolished during the tornado. FEMA ended up providing $21 million in grants for home repairs and temporary housing, averaging to about $3,500 per home. significantly less than what would be needed to rebuild a home. FEMA also funded $153 million for the Joplin schools and 14 new school safe rooms for future tornadic events. 1 week later, President Obama visited Joplin, where he pledged to continuously support the rebuilding process in Joplin. In April 2012, the voters of Joplin helped provide a $62 million bond to continue the construction of new schools and the repairs on previous facilities. Joplin is a special story of recovery, as whilst we've seen non-profits and government support in Joplin, the true beauty of humanity was shown through the volunteering efforts in Joplin, when thousands of people were in desperate need. By November 2011, a staggering 92,000 registered volunteers, including 750 church, charity, business, hospital, and school groups, had all contributed more than 528,000 hours to the recovery process. The volunteers alone removed 1.5 million cubic yards of debris, approximately half of the total accumulated by the storm, and immediately after the tornado, they helped provide thousands of meals to first responders. The Joplin tornado response will forever be remembered by the incredible efforts contributed by thousands of volunteers, all of which dedicated themselves to supporting people who they may have never seen, spoken to, or heard of. Joplin's story is one of how humans as a collective can all persevere as long as we understand that we have each other's backs. Even if we don't know each other by name, by face, or by our stories, we are all members of one body. Every disaster comes with lessons which will forever be engraved into a community. In Joplin it is no different. An unfortunate reality in Joplin before the tornado is that the city had a 78% false alarm rate for tornado sirens. Alongside this, residents had limited access to underground shelters, with no community shelters in Joplin on May 22, 2011. 82% of homes didn't even have basements, with only a few non-residential buildings having underground locations. This likely resulted in the very high death toll in Joplin of 158 during the tornado. In the final assessment report by the NOAA, they included a number of recommendations for the future, including improving warning communications, as there was no tornado emergency issued, and people may have not taken warning seriously until it was too late. There was also a clear need for GPS warnings, for people to get warned on their devices as well. Lastly, community preparedness was a big recommendation, as it was clear that homes were not prepared for strong tornadoes like in Joplin, due to the lack of proper shelter. That is the story of Joplin, a city which was ripped apart by Mother Nature, yet through valiant courage and efforts from a strong, enduring community, the city persevered into becoming a place held together by the people, their respect to each other, and the respect they hold to those who didn't get to be there with them.